Hello everyone and welcome to the Bakadorian channel. This video is going to be about my trip to Studio Ghibli's park last year, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts about the park and if it's worth going there. So the things that I'm going to talk about in this video when we review Studio Ghibli's park is going to be 1. The atmosphere, 2. Quality of attractions, 3. Availability of food, 4. Cleanliness and staff, 5. Wait times for said attractions or picture taking or whatever it would be, and number 6. Cost and accessibility. But before we start talking about these topics, let's first talk a little bit about Hayao Miyazaki, who he is and what he has done. So, Hayao Miyazaki was born on January 5th, 1941. And for those of you who don't know who Hayao Miyazaki is, the best way to describe the guy is actually comparing him to Walt Disney. That's who he is. For Japanese people, he is the Walt Disney, right? He's their Walt Disney. So if you think back to your own childhood and you think about Disney movies, right? And it's the same thing for Japanese people. Studio Ghibli movies are their Disney movies. That's what they grew up with. He has had such a big impact, I think, on everyone in Japan with his movies that, he's basically legendary, and that's why they made this park. It's worth making a park after this guy's movies. Some of his notable works that I want to talk about are, Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, House Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, Nausicaa, The Wind Rises, Kiki's Delivery Service, Lapida Castle in the Sky, and the list goes on. These are just some of his most popular movies that not only people in Japan have watched and loved, but also who people around the world have watched and loved. He has won Oscars for Spirited Away, for example. So he's not only famous in Japan, but also around the world, as I think most of you people know. So let's go back to the list now. So we're going to talk a little bit about the atmosphere. What's this park like? Well, in my humble opinion, I think the atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. If you watch the movies and you go to this park, it's going to be like you're walking in the streets of Spirited Away. That's how well they have recreated all of these things inside the park. It looks exactly like the movies. This is a double-edged sword, however. So if you have watched the movies, right, you're gonna really enjoy the atmosphere, and you're gonna be there, and you're gonna be like, oh, that's that thing from the movie. Oh, and that's that thing from the movie. But if you haven't watched the movies, it's gonna be a little bit disappointing, I would think, because you wouldn't get it. You just wouldn't get it, right? It would just be things and strange memorabilia everywhere, and you would be like, what is this? I don't know what any of this is. Where are the rides? And then we get into that, and basically there are no rides in this park. This park is completely just based off of the movies. It's like a big museum. That's what I would call it. It's basically a big museum with a lot of nostalgic memorabilia and Easter eggs that are gonna remind you of Hayao Miyazaki's movies. So if you haven't watched the movies, I would strongly suggest watching some movies before visiting the park. I think that would enhance your experience and make it 10 times more enjoyable than if you would go in blind to this park, not knowing anything. Okay, let's take a look at the quality of attractions. Well, as I said before, there are no rides, so this is a rideless park, and the only attractions we have actually in this park are going to be the memorabilia and everything you see around you. As I said, it's like a big museum, and they got a lot of props from different movies in different parts of the park, as well as worlds recreated. There's an outdoor area where all the plants are giant, and makes you feel really small, and it's really cool. Even though I don't exactly know what movie that is, and this is where I said before, right? You can prepare yourself by going to this park by watching all of Hayao Miyazaki's movies. I myself have not watched all of them. I watched and I think about 70% of his movies, but I haven't watched all of them. And some of the things in this park, I didn't know what it was, but I found it cool anyways. I mean, the way they made all of these attractions was really impressive. So I would say that even if you haven't watched Hayao Miyazaki's movies, or any Ghibli movies for that matter, I think you would find it really interesting and cool going to this park. But that depends on the person. Like, if you're into rides, maybe Ghibli Park isn't exactly for you, because there's nothing for you to do there to your enjoyment other than, looking at cool things. In my personal opinion, I don't like rides very much, so this is a great park for me. One of the coolest parts of this park, in my opinion, in terms of attractions, was the picture-taking area. So there was a part of the park where you could go inside this pretty long room. It's, I think, like a circle where you go around, and you see all these different key scenes of movies, where you can basically step inside the scene of the movie on the set and basically take a picture, and you would be in the part of, I think, the main character. So I think it makes you feel like, oh, you're part of the movie, you're part of the film in that sense, and you can take some pretty cool pictures actually. I really enjoyed it, and I thought you could take a bunch of funny pictures there, and I think that was the busiest area on opening day when we went, was that particular. I think we had to wait for about an hour and a half or something to get inside of this room and start taking pictures. And you had to take pictures at a pretty fast pace as well, because the line's waiting, everyone is waiting. So overall, I think this was the key attraction of the park, like hands down. In terms of what's left of attractions, everything is not finished yet at Ghibli Park. Like, they were still building like Howl's Moving Castle and other movie sets around the park that are gonna be opening up later, I think this year, during 2023. The park in and of itself is inside Moriyaka Park in Nagakute in Aichi, and it's a giant area. Like, Moriyaka Park is, Ghibli Park is in there, but it's basically this garden-like, forest-like, I don't know how to explain it. It's giant, like, it's very beautiful, and outside of the park you can find many things, and you actually have to travel from the Daisoku area, which is the main building right now that they have finished and built, and where you would go to get some food and maybe some souvenirs and take pictures with statues and the memorabilia and all of these Ghibli things, right? But as of right now, you can actually also go to different movie sets, like Whispers of the Heart. I think it's the cat movie with the violins and whatever. I haven't seen this movie, so I'm just guessing right now. But I think the movie is called Whispers of the Heart. And I think you could find the house that's in the movie, and you had to walk to that part, actually in Moriyaka Park, away from the Daisoku area. So you actually had to go on a little bit of a hike to get there, and once you got there, I mean, it's an exact replica, I believe, of the house that's in the movie. To me, it's just a normal house, but to a lot of people that were in the house, they were like, oh my god, look at this and look at that. But again, you have to watch the movie to really, be able to enjoy this kind of things. Whereas to me, it's just like, oh, it looks like a house from the 1960s of a violin creator or something like that. I didn't really find anything to be like extraordinary about that, whereas I probably would have felt that if I had watched, the movie. Let's take a look at availability of food now. So, in terms of food at Ghibli Park, I couldn't really find any. It was really difficult, actually. I think they were selling some unko sandwiches or something like that with a glass of milk. I think they're preparing to have like a bakery as well, like the one from Kiki's delivery service. Overall, when we went there was not much there to eat. whatsoever. So like we were pretty hungry at the end of the day. But I hope that they incorporate more restaurants. But I'm not sure that they're going to do this, because I think when I went to this park, I've got the feeling that Miyazaki wanted you to enjoy the movies and enjoy all of the nostalgia and those feelings, rather than, you know, it's becoming state-of-the-art theme park where you could go on rides and drink and eat and all of these things. I think he wanted you to primarily focus on all of the things that are related to his movies. He wanted you to get into those worlds and really enjoy that. In terms of cleanliness and staff, I mean, we're living in Japan, at least I am. So if you come to Japan and you go to Ghibli Park, it's gonna be like anywhere in Japan. It's gonna be very clean, staff is gonna be very nice and gonna try to help you to 150% of their ability. Like, I can't really say anything bad about the cleanliness or the staff in this case, because it was just like anywhere in Japan. Like, it was great. You know, you can't have any complaints about that. And finally, wait times. Because we went on opening day, I feel like it was extremely busy. Like, we had helicopters in the sky. People were... I don't think I've ever seen that many people in one area concentrated like that then to this day. Like, it was really crowded. We wanted to buy some souvenirs. We did buy some souvenirs, and we had to wait, I think, 2 hours in line to get into the Ghibli store to, you know, try and get some souvenirs out of this place. So it was very crowded. I highly doubt it's gonna be crowded like it was that day, or the way you see it in this video right now. I highly doubt it's gonna be crowded like this in a couple of months, because they haven't finished the park yet. They finished it just enough for them to open it. So I think when they upgrade the park with the new areas, I think it's gonna be really crowded again, and then it's gonna slowly go down. Finally, let's talk about the cost and accessibility. Okay, so there's only one Ghibli park in Japan, and it's in Aichi Nagakute Moriyaka Park. Like, this is the only one. So everyone from Japan and tourists from abroad that go to this park, everyone's gonna go to this one place. So for me, it's really accessible because I live in Aichi. I can go to this park whenever I want, basically. When I decide to go, it will take me probably like 30-40 minutes to get there and get inside. So to me, it's really accessible, but for someone that's living abroad or living in, I don't know, Hokkaido or Tokyo or Osaka, it's not gonna be very accessible. You'll have to drive here, fly here, or any way, shape or form how you can get here, right? In terms of cost, I think it's pretty affordable. I think tickets weren't really that expensive. I think it's 1,000 or 2,000 yen per person. I mean, that makes sense. It's a park made for, you know, looking like there, as I said before, there are no rides, so the cost is very, you know, I would say really affordable for a park. If you want to go and see stuff in Ghibli Park, I think anyone would be able to do so. It's just a matter of getting here. Okay, final thoughts. So what would I rate this park? What would I rate Ghibli Park? I think I have to give it 2 ratings. My personal rating is 4 out of 5. Like, I don't enjoy roller coasters and rides and stuff like that. So to me, as a Ghibli fan, I really enjoyed this park. It was great. The only thing that I would change is the food supply, right? We needed some vending machines or some snacks or anything. I don't think that would deprive the experience of anything. In terms of like a normal person, a normal review, maybe a 3 out of 5, because like I think it for some people that aren't total Ghibli fans or like really into the movies, I feel like you need something else to attract them more into the park. And I think Moriaka Park does a really good job at this as well, but it's not part of Ghibli Park. Ghibli Park is just inside Moriaka Park, which is in and of itself a really beautiful forest garden place where I think anyone could just go walk around and hike and enjoy the nature and still be really happy with their experience. And as I said, it's not part of Ghibli Park. Ghibli Park is just inside of Moriaka Park. So overall, those are my final thoughts. I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you like and subscribe and come in for the next one. Thank you.